The Galactic Council chamber was the largest room ever built in known space. Its ceiling looked like a sky full of stars. Its walls were made of living metal. Hundreds of species sat in floating seats, watching one small figure standing alone in the center. That figure was human. The human representative stood straight, hands behind his back. He wore no armor. No glowing symbols. No signs of power. Compared to the others, he looked small, fragile. Silence filled the chamber for a moment. Then someone laughed. It was a sharp, mocking sound. Soon, another joined. Within seconds, the room filled with laughter from all sides. The Korthian delegates clicked their sharp jaws in amusement. The Velrics emitted bright flashes, a sign of humor for their kind. Even the ancient stone-like Gron elders released low rumbling sounds. They were all laughing at humanity. Humans, one delegate said, struggling to hold back more laughter. The weak species from a single yellow star system. Another voice echoed through the chamber. They still use metal ships, it said. Solid metal. How primitive. The human representative did not move. His face remained calm. His eyes showed no anger. The laughter grew louder. A tall insect-like being leaned forward. Tell us, human, it said. Why are you here? The human replied in a steady voice. We request full recognition as a defensive power of the galaxy. The chamber exploded with laughter again. A reptilian warlord slammed his claw on the armrest. Defensive power, he repeated. You have no fleet worth naming. Screens around the chamber lit up. Images of known fleets appeared, massive armadas of glowing ships, energy weapons shining like stars. These, the warlord said proudly, are fleets. Then a new screen appeared. It showed Earth's known ships. Small. Few. Old. The laughter turned cruel. You barely defend your own planet, another delegate said. How do you plan to defend anyone else? The human remained silent for a few seconds. Many mistook that silence for fear. They were wrong. The human finally spoke. We have learned to survive without being seen. That answer confused them. A sleek, bird-like alien tilted its head. Is that a joke? It asked. The human did not smile. The Gron elder spoke next, its voice deep and slow. Humanity has fought many wars, it said. Yet you bring no great weapons. Why? The human looked up at the star-filled ceiling. When you are weak, he said, you do not show your strength. You hide it. More laughter followed. A council member waved dismissively. You hide because you are afraid. The human shook his head. No, he said. We hide because we remember. That single word caused a brief pause. Some delegates leaned forward. But the mood quickly returned to mockery. If you have strength, the insect being said, show us your warships. The human slowly raised his wrist. It was a simple device. No lights. No decorations. This is it, someone laughed. A toy. The human pressed a single button. Nothing happened. The laughter reached its peak. But far beyond the council chamber. Far beyond the borders of known space. Something changed. In the deep darkness, silent structures began to wake. Cold engines powered on without sound. Massive forms shifted in hidden docks carved into asteroids. No alarms. No celebration. Only purpose. Back in the council chamber, the human lowered his hand. We do not build ships to impress councils, he said calmly. We build them to survive extinction. The laughter slowly began to fade. Not because they understood. But because something felt wrong. A sensor officer suddenly spoke, voice shaking. Multiple unknown signals detected. The council screens flickered. Then went dark. The human took one step back. "You asked where our fleet is," he said. "It is on its way." Silence fell over the chamber. And for the first time in galactic history, no one laughed. Silence filled the Galactic Council chamber. Not the calm kind. The dangerous kind. The massive screen stayed dark. No stars. No data. Only the reflection of hundreds of uneasy faces. Delegates shifted in their seats. "That is impossible," the reptilian warlord said. "Our sensors see everything." The human representative said nothing. Then a quiet alert echoed through the chamber. One signal. Then another. Then hundreds. The sensor officer's hands trembled as he spoke. "These signals, they are not entering our space." Confusion spread. "Then where are they?" someone demanded. The officer swallowed. "They were already here. Far from the council, far from any trade route. Deep inside regions marked as empty on galactic maps." Human space was waking up. Hidden shipyards drifted inside dark nebulae. Asteroids split open like shells, revealing steel beneath stone. Old wrecks, once marked as dead, slowly moved again. These places were forgotten on purpose. Human engineers walked narrow metal paths in silence. No loud orders. No flashing lights. Every movement was trained. Every action planned. A human captain stood on a bridge with no windows. Only screens. Only data. "Fleet status?" he asked. "Green," came the reply. All ships awake. No cheering followed. Human warships were not beautiful. Their hulls were dark, rough, and scarred. They carried marks of past battles, not cleaned, not hidden. Every scar was a lesson. These ships were built to fight when help would never come. Back in the council chamber, panic began to grow. "We detect no energy spikes," the insect being said. "No warp trails. No weapon charge." "That means nothing is coming," another delegate said quickly. Trying to calm itself. The human finally spoke. "You are looking for noise," he said. "Our ships do not announce themselves." The Gran Elder leaned forward slowly. "You expect us to believe you hid an entire fleet?" The human met its gaze. "We hid more than one." That answer sent a ripple of fear through the room. In deep space, the first human formation aligned. Ships moved without signals, without words. They followed patterns burned into memory. One captain looked at his crew. "Remember the drills," he said calmly. "Remember Earth." The crew answered together. "We remember." Human fleets were not built to conquer. They were built after humanity almost disappeared. After cities burned. After skies fell. After humans learned a simple truth. If the galaxy ever came for them, they would stand alone. Back at the council, a new screen flickered to life. It showed nothing at first. Then space bent. Not exploded. Not ripped. Bent. A shadow appeared. Then another. Massive shapes slid into view, silent, dark, and countless. Gasps filled the chamber. That cannot be right," someone whispered. The ships did not glow. They did not shine. They blocked the stars. The human representative took a slow breath. "These are not our largest ships," he said. "They are our sentries." Fear replaced mockery. A delegate shouted, "Why hide this power?" The human turned. "Because power invites attack," he said. "Silence invites survival." Before anyone could respond, alarms screamed. Enemy fleets, watching the council, had made a choice. "They are moving," the sensor officer cried. "Toward the human ships. The council erupted into chaos. The human closed his eyes for a moment. Then opened them. Then they will learn, he said quietly. Far in space, human warships adjusted formation. Weapons stayed cold. For now. Because humans never fired first. But they always finished last. The enemy fleet moved first. Bright engines flared across space as hundreds of alien warships rushed forward. They were fast. Loud. Confident. From the Galactic Council chamber, every delegate watched in fear. They are attacking the human ships, the sensor officer shouted. At full force. The massive screens showed the scene clearly. The enemy fleet fired warning shots. Long beams of light cut through space, meant to scare, meant to show power. The human ships did not move. They did not fire back. They did not even react. That is it, the reptilian warlord said with satisfaction. They are frozen. They waited too long. Some delegates nodded, relief mixing with pride. Maybe humans were bluffing after all. But the human representative stood perfectly still. Do they plan to die in silence? Someone asked. The human spoke softly. They are listening. Out in space, inside the dark hulls of human warships, no one panicked. A human tactical officer watched the enemy fleet on his screen. Distance, he asked. Optimal, came the reply. Enemy weapon charge. High. Uncontrolled. The officer nodded once. They are angry, he said. That makes them predictable. The enemy fleet moved closer. Too close. Suddenly, something strange happened. The stars behind the human ships disappeared. Not destroyed. Not blocked. Gone. Space itself seemed to dim. What is that? A council delegate whispered. The sensor officer's voice shook. Our instruments are failing. We are losing visual clarity. Then the enemy fleet slowed. Their ships began to drift off course. What's happening? An enemy commander shouted over open channels. Our systems. The message cut out. Inside a human command ship, a calm voice spoke. Gravity nets active. Invisible forces wrapped around enemy ships. Not crushing them. Not tearing them apart. Holding them. Like insects in amber. Gasps filled the council chamber. They didn't fire a single weapon, someone said in disbelief. The human representative finally turned toward the council. We learned long ago, he said. That destruction is not always the strongest answer. The enemy fleet struggled. Power surged. Engines screamed. Nothing worked. Then one human ship moved forward. Only one. It was larger than the others. Its surface was covered in deep scars. A relic of old wars. A voice echoed across open space, calm, clear, human. This is Human Fleet Command, the voice said. You entered restricted space. The enemy commander replied with rage. You think tricks will save you? The human voice did not change. This is your only warning. The council held its breath. The enemy fired. A massive energy blast rushed toward the human ship. It hit. And vanished. The human ship remained untouched. Silence followed. Then the human ship fired once. Not a beam. Not a missile. A pulse. It passed through the trapped enemy fleet. Every enemy weapon went dark. Every engine shut down. They were alive. But powerless. The Galactic Council chamber erupted into chaos. This technology, it breaks every rule, a delegate shouted. The Grand Elder spoke slowly, its ancient voice heavy. This is not advanced warfare, it said. This is prepared warfare. The human representative watched the frozen enemy fleet on the screen. We did not build these ships to win battles, he said. We built them to end wars before they begin. In space, human ships repositioned with perfect order. No celebration. No threats. Just control. The enemy commander sent one final message. We surrender. The words echoed through the chamber. The human fleet command replied instantly. Surrender accepted. The trapped ships were released. They drifted away, broken, humiliated, alive. Back in the council, no one spoke. The same beings who once laughed now avoided the human's eyes. The human representative took a step forward. You mocked us because we were quiet, he said. You mistook silence for weakness. He paused. We survived because we learned when not to speak. The screens showed the human fleet slowly pulling back into formation. But not leaving. Waiting. Because the galaxy had seen human strength. But it had not yet seen human fury. And that lesson was still coming. The galaxy did not stay silent for long. Fear spread faster than respect. Beyond the Galactic Council, distant empires watched what happened. They did not see peace. They saw a threat. Humanity. A powerful coalition made a decision in secret. If humans were allowed to grow, no one would ever control the galaxy again. So they chose war. Without warning, a massive enemy armada jumped into human-controlled space. Thousands of ships. More weapons than most wars ever saw. Their goal was simple. Destroy the human fleet before it could fully move. Human sensors detected them instantly. On one human command ship, alarms stayed quiet. Only a soft tone echoed. Incoming armada, an officer reported. Size, overwhelming. The human fleet commander studied the display. We cannot protect every system, someone said. The commander nodded. We protect the people, he replied. Human ships began to move. But one ship stayed behind. It was old. Heavily damaged. Scarred more than any other. Its name was HFS Endurance. A young officer looked at the captain. Sir, we can still jump. The captain shook his head. If we leave, he said, they reach the colonies. The crew understood. No long speeches followed. No fear. Only purpose. The Endurance turned to face the enemy armada alone. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the attack was broadcast live. Delegates leaned forward in horror. One ship, someone whispered. Against all that? The human representative did not look away. That ship, he said quietly, was built after Earth burned. The enemy armada opened fire. Space turned white with energy. Beams hit the Endurance again and again. Its shields flared. Cracked. Still, it did not retreat. Inside the ship, systems failed one by one. Port weapons offline. Engineering hit. Shields at 20%. The captain stood firm. Hold the line, he said. Every second matters. The Endurance fired back. Not wildly. Not desperately. Precisely. Each shot disabled a ship. Each movement forced the enemy to slow. The armada began to spread out, trying to surround it. The Endurance moved forward instead. Straight into them. They are insane, an enemy commander shouted. No, the human captain whispered. They are late. Suddenly, space shifted. Human fleets arrived from every direction. Silent. Perfectly timed. The trap closed. The enemy armada realized too late. The Endurance had never planned to survive. It had planned to buy time. Human ships struck from the shadows. Gravity nets activated. Weapon systems failed across the enemy fleet. The armada collapsed into chaos. Inside the Endurance, the ship shook violently. The captain looked at his crew. "You did good," he said softly. A final blast hit the ship. The Endurance went dark. In the council chamber, silence returned. The human representative closed his eyes. One ship lost. Millions saved. The enemy armada sent a desperate signal. "We retreat," they said. "We retreat immediately." Human Fleet Command responded. "You were warned." The remaining enemy ships fled in disorder. Human fleets did not chase them. They never needed to. The council watched the wreckage drift in space. One delegate spoke, voice trembling. "They sacrificed a ship, without hesitation." The human representative opened his eyes. "We learned," he said, "that survival is not about saving ships." He looked around the chamber. "It is about saving futures." The stars slowly returned to normal. But the laughter never did. Because the galaxy had now learned something new. Humanity did not fight to dominate. Humanity fought to endure. And if forced to choose, humans would always choose each other. The war ended without a final battle. That surprised the galaxy more than the fighting itself. After the destruction of the enemy armada and the sacrifice of the HFS Endurance, no empire moved again. No threats were sent. No fleets gathered. Across known space, one truth settled in quietly. Humanity was not reckless. Humanity was ready. In the Galactic Council chamber, the seats were full again. But the mood had changed forever. The same species that once laughed now sat in silence. No jokes. No mocking sounds. No careless words. At the center of the chamber, the human representative stood once more. He looked the same. No armor. No symbols of power. But now, everyone saw him differently. The Grand Elder was the first to speak. "Human," it said slowly. "Your species has lost a warship, and yet you stand victorious. Why?" The human did not answer right away. He looked around the chamber. At beings who ruled star systems. At fleets that once believed they were untouchable. "Because we did not come to win," he said. "We came to make sure we were never erased." A low murmur passed through the chamber. A Velrix delegate spoke next. "You could rule the galaxy," it said. "After what we saw, no one could stop you." The human shook his head. "That was never our goal." The chamber leaned in. "When humanity first looked into space," the human continued, "we were afraid. Not of aliens. But of being alone." He paused. "So we learned to protect each other." Images appeared on the council screens. Human colonies rebuilding after attacks. Ships shielding evacuation fleets. The final stand of the HFS Endurance. "We lost worlds," the human said quietly. "We lost billions." The room stayed silent. "That is why we built our warships the way we did," he continued. "Not to conquer, but to endure." The reptilian warlord lowered his head. "We mistook your silence for weakness," he admitted. The human nodded. "You were not the first." A new proposal appeared before the council. Not written by humans. Written by the galaxy. It declared humanity a guardian species. A force meant to defend, not rule. The vote passed instantly. No objections. No debate. The human representative accepted it with a single nod. "We will stand," he said. "But we will not stand above you." He turned to leave. Before he could, a young delegate called out. "Human," it asked carefully. "What will you do now?" The human stopped. He looked back one last time. "We will go home," he said. "We will rebuild our ships. We will remember our dead. He paused. And we will watch the stars, so you don't have to fear them. The council chamber doors closed behind him. Across the galaxy, stories spread. Not about human weapons. Not about their fleets. But about one ship that did not run. Children of many species learned a new lesson. That strength was not loud. That courage did not need applause. And that the quiet species was often the most dangerous to challenge. Far from the council, in deep space, human fleets returned to the shadows. They powered down. They waited. Not for war. But in case the galaxy ever forgot. Because from that day forward, no one laughed at humanity again. And the stars themselves seemed to agree.